The CEO Summit, it rightfully said, it's a side event, so it's actually not on the official program, but it's almost habitual now during the summits, and it's geared towards the whole idea of today's theme, which is that of prosperity for the region, with a focus on economic integration. So it involves really, business tends to be conducted when a CEO sits with a CEO. And I'm a restaurant here, my counterpart would manufacture dinnerware, let's start talking. So it was envisioned in that spirit, where CEO can sit with a CEO. And the attendance is expected to be about 300 of the region's top CEOs. And the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago has been invited to sit on the panel and address the panel in the area of education and development. And she sits with 4 other heads of state. So we are very much looking forward to her contribution. I know very senior businessmen from the region have also expressed great interest in engaging our Prime Minister in that discussion, because surely a big part of economic prosperity of any region would be the component of education with subsequent training and development opportunities for economic integration. And it's in that spirit in which the Prime Minister will be addressing the CEO Summit.
Whose initiative is this? And I asked a question based on the fact that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago some time ago did refer to herself as the CEO of her government.
Absolutely, and well expressed by the Honourable Prime Minister. At the end of the day, a cabinet becomes the equivalent of a management team of the company, which is country. And rightfully so, the Honourable Prime Minister is absolutely the CEO of that company, which is the country. And with that, given the sort of educational background and the experiential learnings the Honourable Prime Minister is gifted with, it manifests itself with a management style that is reflective of an entrepreneur and a business manager. And being ambassador to the United States and having a very commercial-centric mandate, going out there and addressing several chambers myself, many businessmen in the international community, more over the US, have expressed the role that Trinidad and Tobago is playing with respect to business development opportunities for the Caribbean, not just Trinidad and Tobago. And a lot of eyes are being turned our way. And I always say it this way: Trinidad and Tobago is a household in a gated community, and that gated community is the Caribbean. And it becomes a very difficult sell to go and try to sell a household without selling your gated community. And it's in that spirit in which our own Prime Minister has been selling the region, and with specific opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago. And I think her invitation to address the CEO Summit is reflective of that over time.
And quite naturally, the populations involved would want to see this in the context of dollars and cents.
Sure.
What do you say to them?
And rightfully so. They must ask that question. And I think the quality of the audience in and itself is reflective of the measurability that is expected. A CEO sitting with a CEO, I think it will be up to our good selves to put mechanisms in place to track and trace the opportunities that come out of a summit of that nature, and be able to account to any population 3 or 4 to 5 years from now, having engaged in 2012. Here are the businesses and here are the opportunities, tangible or not, that have come out of it in time to come. And I think the audience is spot on in terms of who was invited to that CEO Summit. And let's hope that there will be continuity of process and we move from strength to strength with this sort of CEO Summit in time to come.
I think the question you ask about the population and Trinidad and Tobago always wanting to measure these missions which the Prime Minister engages in dollars and cents is an important one. But Catherine Kumar, speaking at the launch of the Caribbean Investment Forum, made the point that if you do not have these visits, and if you do not have these high-level visits that profile Trinidad and Tobago, that keep Trinidad and Tobago in terms of the top of the mind of the region, you're going to find that Trinidad and Tobago is not going to have its impact that it wants to have in terms of expanding its trade relations with these countries. And she also made the point. She said, even if you're in the private sector and you initiate a business discussion towards some goal of a partnership, sometimes it takes years in order to get the result. And but she admitted that the results are already beginning to show in Trinidad and Tobago. And Mr. Cady, our Minister of Industry and Commerce, made another important point. Today, Trinidad and Tobago is not competing against just a couple of countries for investments. Trinidad and Tobago is competing perhaps with about 150 countries for investments. The Latin American region and the Central American region in particular is very important to us because with our focus here, we move from a 6 million person market in CARICOM to a 70 million person market in this area. If you do not come out here and remind people about Trinidad and Tobago and what Trinidad and Tobago can offer and what Trinidad and Tobago can do and the opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, then people are not going to focus upon you. You got to come out and sell yourself.
It's like advertising in economic downturn.
It's like advertising economic downturn when people think that advertising would not have an impact. But that impact is felt both in the short and medium term. When you have a downturn, you continue to keep yourself in the mind's eye of people.
When you pronounce and you make a statement, for the Americans to listen to and people take note, the analysis is good, it's excellent, it's relevant, but they want to hear what is being delivered.
Sure.
That's what they want to hear.
That's true.
Twice I had to make that point because we were analyzing the thing to death. Solid analysis. I say, but at the end of the day, if the summit is to pronounce, it must pronounce on something that is deliverable.
Correct.
That is what they're going to hear. And it's very, very important.